Flick to left center. Hampson's in the gap, and he makes the catch. The Royals take game one of the doubleheader, and they've won their 50th game of the season.
In the air to center field, Isbell is there, and the Royals sweep the doubleheader.
And that was their 51st win of the season in Game 2 of the doubleheader. The Royals winning over the Cardinals 6-4 in Game 1, 8-5 in Game 2. They're on Wednesday, the doubleheader. Just like I was talking about yesterday, a weird week for the Royals as they, again, had Monday built-in day off, and then Tuesday they were rained out for their night game against the Cardinals, which set up a doubleheader yesterday at 12:45 and 6:45 in the split doubleheader. And then they have today off before starting a 3-game series with the Red Sox Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then the All-Star break hits and a long break here for the Royals compared to what you would normally have during the season. So, yesterday I was talking about that and how it could be a detriment, possibly, to the Royals, but it didn't end up being a detriment yesterday. They get the doubleheader sweep, and we'll talk more about that here just momentarily. And hear from Matt Quatraro, the Royals manager, on both of those wins yesterday for Kansas City. Again, the day off today. We'll also update you on Wimbledon here in the sports ticket. And we'll have the latest on USA Basketball as they got underway last night with an exhibition game against Team Canada. A little bit of a slow start, but they continue to go on there in basketball. If there's anything else, we will. It looks like there's a new media rights deal for the NBA, so we'll talk about that as well. Coming up here on the Sports Ticket on Katy Country 94, not a lot going on locally because we're on a little bit of a break here, but K-18 State Softball Tournament is coming up this weekend, and I know that I saw that bracket somewhere. I got to switch out and get back on my own Facebook instead of the station's Facebook page here, and once I do that, I'll be able to get where I need to go here with the K-18 State Softball Tournament, which is, again, starting on Saturday, and it'll be Saturday and Sunday in Lucas. So that's a look at that. Osborne has the number 1 seed, actually. They have a first-round bye. Beloit's also in this State Softball Tournament, and they'll take on Plainville coming up on Saturday in the first round of the quarterfinals of the K-18 State Softball Tournament. East Region Tournament starts next week for K-18 baseball, so we'll see how that all plays out coming up next week for the East Region Tournament in K-18 baseball. All right, again, the Royals, speaking of baseball, winning yesterday, getting the doubleheader sweep over the Cardinals, as, again, rained out on Tuesday night, so they moved the first game of the doubleheader to 12:45. They kept their originally scheduled 6:45 game last night to make it a split doubleheader. Since they already had a built-in off day today, I would guess that had it not been a built-in off day, they'd probably played a back-to-back doubleheader, a traditional doubleheader, instead of the split, but they had a little bit of time in between to get themselves ready for Game 2, and the Royals, again, getting the sweep over the Cardinals to improve to 51-43. In Game 1, the Cardinals actually had a 3-0 lead through 3 innings, but the Royals put up 3 runs in the 5th inning. MJ Melendez double scored Hunter Renfroe, and then Garrett Hampson doubled to center to score Freddie Firmino and MJ Melendez to tie the game at 3. And then Salvador Perez hit a home run in the 6th to make it 4-3. Vinny Pasquantino with an RBI sac fly in the 8th, another single RBI that scored Bobby Witt Jr. from Perez to make it 6-3 Royals. Paul Goldschmidt had a homer in the 9th inning to finish out the scoring. 6-4 the final. Alec Marsh pitched 6 innings, 3 hits, 3 earned runs, 8 strikeouts, did walk 1. A little bit of a slow start there from Marsh, giving up the 3 runs early, but he settled in and settled down as he ended up giving up just 3 runs, again, on 3 hits and 6 innings to get that victory. Will Smith, Sam Long, and James MacArthur all pitched an inning of scoreless relief. MacArthur, things got interesting for him. He gave up 2 hits, but and the run on the homer by Goldschmidt, but he was able to finish things out and get that victory, or get the save, I guess I should say, his 16th of the season for the Royals. Is again they're 50-43 after that win. And looking at the offense, I mentioned Garrett Hampson getting the 2 RBI. He went 1 for 4 in the 9 spot. The 7 spot, MJ Melendez had a hit. Freddie Fermin had a hit in the 6th spot. You're getting hits from pretty much the entire lineup yesterday except Nick Lofton and Michael Massey there. And also Vinny Pasquantino went 0 for 3. But otherwise, they're spreading out the offense in that first win, and Royals manager Matt Quatraro gave his thoughts on that and having different guys step up.
Like most teams, when the middle of the order is producing, that's a good sign for us. But when, Hampson's driving in too and, Freddie's getting on, those kinds of things are going to make us a lot better.
So, yeah, quick cut there from Quatraro, and he's right. I mean, and that's with baseball teams that win. Like, you've got to have guys hitting and producing in all spots in your lineup to have the success that you want to have to get to the playoffs, the postseason, and eventually win a World Series. Guys got to step up, and most teams are going to have pretty good middle hitters. I would say 2 through 5 to 6 maybe, but 2 through 5, you want a good leadoff hitter as well. And Michael Garcia has been hitting .230 this year for the Royals, not overly great. That was through the first game. But he does have some timely hits here for the Royals in some situations. Bobby Witt Jr. obviously very, very good this season, hitting .323 after yesterday's first game. And so you want to spread that out and get the offense going in different spots. And that's exactly what the Royals did in the second game as well, as they won 8-5. Salvador Perez, we talked about, had the solo homer in the first game. He also had a solo homer in the second game that ended up giving the Royals a lead of 6-4. The Cardinals actually took a 1-0 lead, but the Royals would score one in the third on a solo homer from MJ Melendez. Perez and Renfroe had RBIs in the fourth to make it 3-1. Cardinals got within 3-2, but then another 2-run inning for the Royals on a single by Frazier that scored Kyle Isbell. Bobby Witt Jr. had a sac fly that scored Adam Frazier, and that was 5-2. Cardinals, to their credit, fought back, got 2 more runs in the bottom of the fifth inning to get back within one at 5-4. But again, the solo homer from Salvador Perez in the sixth, an RBI single from Vinny Pasquantino in the seventh, and a solo homer from Kyle Isbell in the ninth, wrapped up an 8-5 victory in the end for the Royals. And again, a lot of different guys getting mixed in and getting hits. The only ones that didn't have a hit in Game 2 were Freddie Fermin and Michael Garcia, who actually came in as a pinch hitter late in the game for Adam Frazier playing third base. So Bobby Witt Jr. did go 2 for 4 in the second game, so his average is up to .325, .371 on base percentage, and a .560 slug. He's just been obviously outstanding this year and an all-star for a reason for the Royals. Pasquantino went 2 for 5 in the second game, and Fermin going 0 for 4 had his average dip back under 300 at .296. But Kyle Isbell is an example of what we were talking about there from the first game when we were talking about Garrett Hampson. It was Kyle Isbell, the number 9 hitter in the second game. He went 2 for 3, scored 3 runs, had an RBI with the solo homer as well. He walked once and obviously put some pressure on. And again, it was very, very similar. It's a game where you want to have different guys stepping up and doing things for you, and that's what can lead to wins, as Matt Quatraro addresses that, and the offense having success in Game 2 as well.
There were a lot of good things. The base running was good. Vance sending the runner there, and even more so with Frazier just continuing to run all the way to third. I mean, that sets up another run. Vinny coming through again against the lefty. We had a lot of really good at-bats. When they were matching up with us, we had some really good at-bats.
Absolutely right. The Royals getting the 8-5 win, and the key there was to, again, get everybody involved, get the offense going from 1 through 9, and not just like 2 through 5 or 6. And when any team does that, as I mentioned, you're going to have a bigger chance for success. Most of the Cardinals' activity came from just about 4 or 5 of their guys that were getting hits, and they were able to get some offense going, but not enough in the end, as the Royals went 8-5 in Game 2. Take first game 6-4. Game 2 winning pitcher was Michael Wacha. He was not perfect. He was not overly great. Pitched 5 innings, allowed 3 earned runs, 4 total runs on 7 hits, and then had 3 strikeouts and a walk. But again, had the lead when he exited, and that was good enough for the win to move to 6-6. Angel Serpa, John Schreiber, and Chris Bubich all got holds, and James MacArthur, yet again, a 1-inning save, his 17th save of the season, as not only did the Royals get the sweep in the doubleheader, but MacArthur also gets a sweep with 2 saves for the Royals yesterday in that doubleheader. So, again, a lot of good things there for the Royals. Looking up, it is wild to see what the Royals have done, and they're at 51 wins right now. And it's wild to see that after they won a total of 56 games last year. And I'm sure there could be a quicker way to see this, but I'm just looking to see when they got their 50th win last year. It was on September 19th. The Royals, if you remember, man, they were 44-101 at one point, and they finished 56-106. They won a lot of games in September, and in fact, they had a stretch where they had taken 10 out of 11 to make their record way better than what we thought it was going to be, because we were definitely thinking like 110 losses easily last year, and then they got hot. So they did not get their 51st win until September 20th last year. This is July 11th, and they're at 51 wins. So again, they got the 51st win came when they had won their 7th in 8 tries. It was not looking good to even get to 51 wins last year, to be honest with you. But they did it. They won 56 games. But that tells you just how much improvement the Royals made here in 2024. You know, they went out and got the guys that they needed, the Frasers of the worlds, the Renfros of the worlds, to help things out a bit and maybe get some veteran presence in there and do some things there in the off season to make their team better. And that's what they did. They got the job done, and they have their 51st win again on the 11th of July compared to getting their 51st win on the 20th of September in 2023. Royals are on the right path right now in going in the right direction as they continue on here. Getting a day off today, but they will be back in action against the Red Sox. It's a pretty important... in the end, it's not going to be... Well, it might be. I can't guarantee that, but you know, you try to win the games that are in front of you right now and just worry about that. But if you want to look at the standings and some of the head-to-head things that are going on, the Royals, by the way, are 7.5 out from the Guardians now because Cleveland lost yesterday and the Royals won 2. So they were 9 out going into the day. They're in third place, 7.5 behind the Guardians in the AL Central. Cleveland's 57-34, and the Royals 51-43. Second place, Twins 53-40. The Royals are 2.5 games behind second place Minnesota here in the AL Central. But in the wild card standings, the Royals are still half a game behind the Red Sox. As the Red Sox have gone 7-3 in their last 10. They did lose yesterday, and the Royals, again, getting those 2 wins, got them back within a half a game, and they are playing Boston coming up here in Boston this weekend. The Red Sox have a game against the A's here at 6:10 tonight, so should the A's beat the Red Sox, and the Royals will be back in that final spot in the American League wild card, and then they have a very good chance of putting themselves in even a better position by beating the Red Sox if they could do that in Boston. If they lose those games, then obviously that puts them back behind Boston again. And, you know, the Royals haven't been overly great on the road, but the 2 wins in St. Louis yesterday helped that cause and were a big boost in their confidence going forward of maybe how they could perform on the road. They're still 20-25 away from home. And again, 51-43 overall this season. So the Royals and Red Sox will meet for 3. Kansas City having today off before they get set to start that 3-game series in Boston. Rest of the standings, we kind of gave these yesterday, but we'll update you real quick again. Orioles beat the Yankees. Orioles are 2 games ahead of the Yankees in the American League East. And then in the AL Central, the Guardians are 5 games ahead of the Twins as well. And as we mentioned, they're 7.5 ahead of the Royals. The Mariners 51-43, 2 games up on the Astros in the AL West. NL East, the Phillies 60-32, they're 8.5 up on the Braves, who are 51-40. And in the NL Central, the Brewers are 54-39, they're 5.5 ahead of the Cardinals after 2 losses here for St. Louis yesterday to the Royals. And the Dodgers have the lead in the NL West at 55-38, 7.5 up on the Padres. So let's look at what's going on here in Major League Baseball. The Royals getting the sweep yesterday of the Cardinals. And take a time out here. When we come back on the Sports Ticket, we'll update you on Wimbledon and also the men's National USA men's basketball team having their first exhibition as they prepare for the Olympics. All coming up on the Sports Ticket, brought to you by Kiever Brothers Automotive in Beloit.
I'm Elijah at Kiefer Brothers Automotive in Beloit. Hot weather is here. Is the air conditioning in your vehicle nice and cold? If not, we can help. We have the training and equipment to service vehicle AC systems of all types, including the new refrigerant and late model vehicles. We offer same-day service on air conditioning with no appointment necessary. So don't sweat it out. Give us a shout. Fast, friendly service for your air conditioner can be found at Kiefer Brothers Automotive, just south of the courthouse in Beloit, or on the web at kieferbrothers.com.
All right, back in with you here on Katy Country 94, Dusty Donis, as we have more on the sports ticket. One thing I didn't mention is, since we did this yesterday with K-State, we will have the interview with, or the press conference with Lance Leipold, the head coach of the KU football team, coming up here at the end of the sports ticket, so be listening for that. Kansas had 5 first-place votes. They were picked 4th in the Big 12 Media preseason poll. Again, behind Utah first, K-State second, and Oklahoma State third. And then had a couple players on the All-Big 12 football media All-Big 12 team to start the season here. 2 defensive backs that were selected by the media as All-Big 12 players, and I've clicked 3 different links. Kobe Bryant was one of them, I know that, and then the other one was Mello Dotson. So 2 KU players on that first-team defense on the All-Big 12 team. Again, no first-team selections from Kansas State. Again, we'll hear from Lance Leipold coming up here at the end of the sports ticket on KU football, as Big 12 Media Day is taking place in Las Vegas. Before we get to that, though, we do want to talk about Wimbledon and update you on how things are going there. Donna Vekic is taking on 7-seed Jasmine Paolini in the first ladies semifinal here this morning at the All England Club. Vekic won the first set 6-2, and then Paolini won the second 6-4. It's 2-1 in the third set, Vekic leading Paolini. And then the second semifinal is slated to start around 9:30, but it will be a little bit later than that as this third set is going on in the first semifinal. 31st seed Barbara Krejcikova taking on 4th seed Elena Rybakina in the other semifinal. So I had my cousin had sent a message, said, hey, what's the frequency of unseeded players making it to the championship or the finals at Wimbledon? And I said it's probably more than you think. But I didn't know off the top of my head, but a quick Google search tells me it's not more than I thought on the women's side. On the ladies' singles side of things, only 4 unseeded players have reached the final. Last year, Marketa Vondrousova became the first unseeded player to win ladies' singles championship at Wimbledon. So she was the 4th to do it and the first to actually win a championship. Since 1927, only 2 unseeded players have won gentlemen's singles, but they're names that you've heard if you follow tennis, and definitely if you followed tennis in the 90s, early 2000s, late 80s as well. Boris Becker in 1985 obviously became one of the better tennis players of his time, for sure. And then Goran Ivanisevic won it in 2001, another name that I know anyway because I played tennis in high school. I graduated in 2001, so that was right after my senior year of high school, so I probably was watching Goran Ivanisevic win that Wimbledon championship there in 2001. So those are the 2 that have won. There have been 11 unseeded players reach the men's gentlemen's singles final. That's irrelevant this year because there's the players that are left, they seed through 32, and all the players that are left are still seeded on the men's side. As Carlos Alcaraz, the 3 seed, Daniil Medvedev, the 5 seed, Novak Djokovic, the number 2 seed, and 25th seed Lorenzo Musetti round out the semifinals on the men's side. Those matches will be tomorrow. Alcaraz and Medvedev will play at 7:30, and then Djokovic and Musetti will play at 9:30 tomorrow. They're at the All England Club for the men's semifinals. Again, women's semifinals going on right now, as Donna Vekic leads 2-1 on serve in the third set. So she's trying to get a win and become the 5th unseeded women's player to make it to, I guess, the ladies' singles finals there at Wimbledon. So that's an update on what's going on in England at London, the All England Club. Again, I'm disappointed because there are no Americans left in either one of these semifinals, and that's depressing for a men's tennis fan in the United States of America. Still 2003, the last time an American has won a major, and that was Andy Roddick at the U.S. Open. I'm pretty sure it's 2010 was the last time an American made a Grand Slam final, which was 14 years ago. That's off the top of my head. I might be wrong about the second part of that. I know I'm right about the first part of it, though. Andy Roddick in 2003 at the U.S. Open, the last American to win a championship. The time from the last American to win a championship to now is now old enough to drink. Well, when the U.S. Open happens, it will be. It'll be 21 years coming up in September since the last U.S. men's player won a Grand Slam. There have been a couple opportunities, not as many as you'd think there either. They're few and far between. I think John Isner had a chance most recently. Francis Tiafoe had a run at one here pseudo recently. I don't have all that on the top of my head, but man, it makes you long for the days of Pete Sampras, Andre Agassi, Jim Courier, Michael Chang, all those guys in the 90s and early 2000s that were just winning and winning and winning. And Andy Roddick looked like the guy that was going to continue that for the U.S., but Andy got the one in 2003, and then he unfortunately had to finish his career against three of the best to ever do it in that same time period with Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal, and now Novak Djokovic again continuing on. I don't know if Roddick and Djokovic really met a whole lot, but Roddick and Federer did for sure. They had to play a lot of games against each other, and Federer had the more success for sure than Roddick did in that matchup. So, yeah, it's tough to talk about tennis as an American tennis fan on the men's side especially. There have been some women that have won championships, and that's been fun to see that. Coco Gauff last year at the U.S. Open. But, man, it is rough as an American men's tennis fan in 2024. All right, we move on now. The last couple things we want to talk about in basketball. I'll get to this first. The NBA has reached an agreement on a $76 billion media rights deal. They've agreed to terms on the new media deals. 11-year agreements worth $76 billion that would assure players' salaries will continue rising for the foreseeable future, and that will surely change how some viewers access the game for years to come. A person familiar with the negotiations told the Associated Press that the networks have the term sheets, with the next step being the league's Board of Governors to approve the contracts. Board of Governors, I'm pretty sure, is just owners. They say it different in NBA. The person spoke to AP on condition of anonymity Wednesday because they weren't at liberty to discuss such impending matters. A Board of Governors meeting next week in Los Angeles, coinciding with the NBA Summer League, or Las Vegas. I think I said Los Angeles. It's Las Vegas. Whatever I said, it is Las Vegas. And it would seem logical that the deals might be finalized around that time if they can get various committees and obtain other approvals. A deal which sets NBA records for both length and total value go into effect for the 2025-26 season. And games will continue being aired on ESPN and ABC, and now some will be going to NBC and Amazon Prime. TNT Sports, which has been a part of the league's broadcasting family since the 1980s, could be on its way out, but has 5 days to match one of the deals. The 5-day clock will begin once the league sends the finished contracts to TNT, and The Athletic was the first to report on the contracts. ESPN and ABC will continue to have the league's top package, and the finals would be aired on ABC, it looks like, and ESPN main nights will continue to be Wednesday with some Friday and Sunday games. Exclusivity on the finals comes with a big price increase. Walt Disney, which owns ESPN and ABC, would pay $2.6 billion per year on the new contract compared to $1.4 billion on the current deal. The return of NBC gives the league 2 broadcast partners for the first time. NBC would showcase games on Sunday nights. Once the NFL season is ended, it will air games on Tuesdays throughout the regular season. Monday night package of games will be exclusively streamed on Peacock. So changes, and again, you'll have streaming coming into that. Prime Video will have games on Thursday nights after it's done carrying NFL games. Other nights will be Friday and Saturday. Prime Video is doing some WNBA games right now, so it makes sense. Peacock and Prime Video, they're getting into the NBA world, and again, just another example of what we've been talking about for literally years now, that streaming is going to be taking over some of these games and rights and fees and paying to get them on their platforms. So not a surprise at all that we're seeing that. All right, one final thing before we get to Lance Leipold, KU football coach here on the Sports Ticket. Team USA played a game last night, an exhibition in Las Vegas in front of a record-setting crowd of 20,756 at T-Mobile Arena. And Team USA picked up a win over Canada 86-72. It was a bit of a slow start. I was watching, I think it was like 12-4 early, maybe 12-6, something like that. And then Anthony Edwards started getting a couple buckets. He led the USA with 13 points off the bench. Anthony Davis had 10 points, 11 rebounds, 4 block shots. The Americans overcame the cold start and put the game out of reach early in the second half. Canada shot 7 of 33 from three-point range. the defense is what Anthony Davis was focused on, said unbeatable. Well, I don't know. We'll see. Offensively, we were, to keep it frank, we were pretty terrible, but it's a good terrible in the sense that we were trying to make the right plays. But if we're worried about offense, I think we're in a good spot. Where we hung our hat tonight was defensively. Canada's got a way better team. They've got a backcourt with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jamal Murray. They've got good players. Kelly Olynyk is on that team. Canada's going to be, I think, a solid team, but they're going to see, the U.S. is going to see better offenses and to better teams than Canada probably once you get to the Olympics. So the unbeatable comment from Anthony Davis, just a bit early to be saying that, I would say. Teams probably also are not going to be cold from three the entire game like Canada was last night. So, again, take it for what it's worth. The U.S. winning 86-72 in an exhibition over Canada. They do have two exhibitions coming up. They'll be making a trip to Abu Dhabi for their next two games. They'll face Australia and Serbia in a pair of exhibition games next week for this leg of the Pre-Olympics World Tour that they're on. Olympics coming up in Paris later this summer for Team USA basketball. It's always gold medal or bust when you're talking about Team USA men's basketball. All right, again, Thursday, July 11th here on the Sports Ticket, brought to you by Kiever Brothers Automotive in Beloit. And we're going to wrap up the show here today, as we mentioned, with Lance Leipold, the head coach of the KU football team, picked to finish fourth by the Big 12 in the preseason poll, behind Utah, K-State, and Oklahoma State at 1, 2, 3, and then KU picked to finish fourth. They've got a lot of positives to look forward to. Lance Leipold's done an outstanding job of building that program up from what he inherited from Les Miles and the coaches before that as well. Lance Leipold talked to the media yesterday, and we'll just go ahead and play this press conference from yesterday at Big 12 Media Days in Las Vegas to wrap up today's Sports Ticket here on Katy Country 94. Thanks for tuning in today. We'll talk to you again tomorrow on Waterside Wake Up and the Sports Ticket on Katy Country 94.
Lose a drawing by following. I think everybody else went to ask the harder questions elsewhere, but we're excited to be here today, looking at how far our program's come in the last 3.5 years, to put ourselves in a competitive position. And, a lot of exciting things happening in Lawrence, Kansas. And, the commitment our university, our Chancellor Gerard, and Athletic Director Travis Goff have made in facilities, staffing, and those things have continued to improve and give us this chance that where we're here today. So I'll open up for questions.
Okay, we'll go ahead and take questions. Please raise your hand. We'll get it right over here on the right side, fourth row.
Hey, Coach, over here.
Yep.
Tyler Budge, CF Budge. This offseason, you lost offensive coordinator Andy Kotelnicki, who had been with you since your days at Wisconsin Whitewater. Could you talk about sort of the impact of losing him off the staff, but also the faith that you have in guys like Jeff Grimes and Jim Zabrowski that have taken over?
Yeah, that's a good question. Andy and I were together for 11 years, and when you look at the time in college football today, that's a rarity. And Andy's loyalty and contributions are greatly appreciated. Andy and I had conversations for over a year, and really from the time I hired him at Whitewater, his aspirations to someday be a head coach. And one of the things he felt was in order to continue to grow, he maybe an opportunity to work under someone else would help him grow. So I can't fault him for that. We've had great alignment and loyalty of continuity in our staff as a whole, and yeah, that's different. But I've said it other times today. Jeff Grimes, I thought, did an outstanding job. I look at our first year in the conference in 2021. I think, unfortunately, that year we didn't make it down to Dallas for this event. But Baylor, I think, was picked right above us in standings, and we were 9 and 10 respectively. And Coach Aranda and Jeff Grimes and that staff, won the Big 12 conference. And watching what they did when they played us and other things, I just thought we'd have a good fit. Somebody had knowledge of the conference. And then when we met, we talked about what we wanted to continue to do. Did we have the right alignment once again? And I feel very confident that we do with Jeff as a coordinator. You mentioned Jim Zabrowski. He was the first coordinator I ever hired at Wisconsin Whitewater. Then he went on with Jerry Kill at Minnesota and then returned to us in Buffalo. So Jim called the bowl game for us last December, did a great job. So I feel very confident that our offense will continue to be diverse and multiple in many things that we're doing and continue to grow. And I think with the returning weapons that we have, that was going to be imperative that we continue with terminology and things that we're doing so the players could continue to operate in such a way.
We'll stay on the right side over here, second row in the middle.
Kenneth Berry, Touchdowns and Tangents Media. Coach, obviously you're starting quarterback Jalen. He's had an incredible road, pretty much learning to play quarterback and become a starter as a junior, winning a state title. He has the back injury. How battle-tested is he going into this season, and how do you quantify his leadership status?
Well, Ken, thank you for the question. Jalen Daniels has been tested in so many different ways through high school, through college, and to persevere and handle it in today's college football world, social media, speculation and all those things, to watch him, on a daily basis walk in with the smile that he has that lights up a room, stay positive, be there for his teammates, even when he's not available, speaks volumes to me each and every day. It makes me a fan of him as well as being fortunate to be his head coach. So I know he's tested to handle anything from that may come his way. He continues to learn as a quarterback. I think it's well documented that when he's on the field, we are a lot better football team. We can be pretty explosive, and he's the leader there. I feel very good about our quarterback room as a whole, but I continue to look at, and I'm excited to see what Jalen will do this season for us. He's doing everything that doctors, trainers, strength coaches are having him do, and I can't wait to get to August.
We'll stay over here on the right side, right next to him.
Coach Lane Harrington with Stay Alive in Power 5. How you doing today?
Doing well, thank you.
That's good to hear. So to follow up what you were just talking about, with Jalen Daniels, there's no Jason Bean around this time, and like he said previously, Jalen Daniels struggled, staying healthy to make it through the season. How important is it to have two quarterbacks just ready to go, throw to the wolves, just in case anything happens to Daniels?
I think that's a dilemma, across college football. I think we looked, and I don't have the numbers, somebody probably does there, about how many teams played, ended the year with a different quarterback than they started with. So it's there. Cole Ballard started a game, was a walk-on last year, started as a true freshman. Cole's had an outstanding off-season. I feel very confident in his growth and where his future lies. Isaiah Marshall, Detroit, Michigan, enrolled early, and we're excited about what he gives us as well. So continued development is going to be key, but it's our goal and expectation is that Jalen will play every snap he's able to play, dictated by score more than health.
Go to the left side, third row.
Hey, Lance, Colin Wilson with the Action Network. All four Big 12 home games this year will be in Arrowhead Stadium. Does that change the game plan for special teams, kicking, or just prep, field turf, everything?
We're practicing on grass more than we ever have. We'll continue to try to find ways to do that. All our home games, the first two are at Children's Mercy Park in Kansas City, Kansas. That's going to be different. Gauging anytime you've got to gauge weather conditions as it goes. I think we have an outstanding relationship with the Chiefs, and any other nuances that we need to be aware of, we'll be educated on. We have over 30 seniors and guys that have done an outstanding job helping us get this turned around. Part of me feels bad that they don't get to play in Lawrence, Kansas this year, or get a chance to play in the new stadium in its renovated site. But Then there's a part that's excited because much like we pick venues like this to hold media days, we have a chance to play in an NFL stadium for conference football games. And I think the 4 gentlemen that are here today would tell you that that locker room's pretty excited about it. And we're going to have to be ready to go. And it is what it is. We can't control it. I'm not going to slow down the investment that our university has made. So we're not going to use anything that might be new as an excuse, and we're going to find a way to play our best football yet.
We'll stand left side, 4th row on the aisle in the center.
Hey, Coach Leipold, good to see you.
You as well.
So, you kind of touched on it a little bit, but first of all, what's kind of the status right now on Jalen Daniels and his injury? And 2, if there are some issues, what kind of is your plan behind that?
Oh, again, I don't know, where you at, Jalen? Help me out, man. Jalen's doing everything. All the stuff they do behind over here, I think we got to have them stretch or something before they do all that stuff they video back there as much as they go. I go, if he can make it through everything they're doing to video for pregame stuff, I think he's going to be fine. Like I said, he's doing everything. We've gotten a lot of opinions, all those things. He's doing the throws that he's supposed to be making, all those things. And right now, I put the hands of each and every day. But I know this. Let me back up. I try not to ask Jalen Daniels more than once a week, how is he doing? Because I know everybody asks him that. And, of course, it's, to keep wearing a young man out with those questions. I'll be told by somebody if there's anything going on. And for him, just on that part mentally, that he has a chance just to go about his business. He's excited. He wouldn't be here today if we didn't think he was going to be ready to go for this season. I can tell you that. Everything else from that is I believe our practice format and how we rep players is going to give Cole Ballard and Isaiah Marshall opportunities, as well as our other quarterbacks, to develop. And I think we've been able, unfortunately, in all 3 years, we haven't played one quarterback the whole time. And as I said earlier, a lot of us go through that in this conference. But, the emergence and the development of Jason Bean throughout his career was part of that growth and development through playing, but also practicing. And I feel that if there would be an instance that Jalen's not available, the growth of especially Cole Ballard, who got thrown to the fire last year, is going to put us in a good position.
I will stay on the left side over here, 2nd row.
Hi, yes, Richard Obey, Playmakers KU. So my question for you made tremendous strides already here at your time at KU. Are you going to be treating this season any different from the ones in the past, as now expectations are much greater for you and so many people came back? There's a lot of people leaving after this season, so is this season kind of a do or die, as some would say?
No, I understand where the question is because it's such a veteran football team. But I think, again, we continue internally to look at it through recruiting and other things as you move on to the next year. And I think this new landscape allows you to continue to stay competitive a lot of different ways. Approach, no, I think, I've said it multiple times. I'll say it again, is my challenge is going to be is that to make sure I want our young men to be confident. I want them to be proud of what they've done. I don't want that to trickle into complacency, though, and that's my responsibility. It's my responsibility to our staff that we continue to do the things in the type of manners that help get us where we are. But also, I think our track record as a staff at our last 2 jobs, I don't care what level it is, it still goes about how you go about your business. And we were able to build things for consistency. It's not, we're going to build it and then you're going to disappear for a while. So that's going to continue to be our mindset, and we're going to approach it in that way.
We're going to go to the right side, center aisle, about halfway back.
Coach Leipold, Alex Blackburn, College Football Dogs. What is your relationship like with AD Travis Goff, and how has that fostered a bright future for this Kansas football program?
Great question. I've said this before, this is the best alignment that I've personally have gone through, from football coach to athletic director and then athletic director to chancellor, that I've ever been a part of. I can't say specifically as an assistant coach, but I would challenge those to, I can remember way back as a graduate assistant when Barry Alvarez talked about Donna Shalala as the president or chancellor and Pat Richter was the athletic director, and that program was able to take the steps that put it where it is today. Without that, you don't have a chance. And the unique thing that became a tough beginning hurdle, so to speak, at Kansas was Travis was hired just weeks before he hired myself. But the thing is, that partnership and alignment, because we were in it together, allowed us to have conversations and talk about visions and go into it arm in arm that we're going to take this thing on and build something special at Kansas.
And we'll take one more question. It'll come in the third row here on the right side.
Federico Moreno, Kansas Student Radio. How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Good to see you. So, when you have 3 captains that are leaving, what do you look for as a head coach to fill in those leadership voids within the locker room?
Well, first of all, our strength coach, Matt Gildersleeve, does a great job in our off-season, just our player development off-season teams. We do, like a lot of places, you have off-season team captains, you draft teams, you do different things. But there's leadership development things. We've done things to cultivate leadership in anticipation of others leaving, putting them into roles and responsibilities to make sure some certain things are done within the program. But some guys, they're better at being really good followers. Some guys aren't as vocal. There are some other things. But when we're fortunate to have 30+ seniors, we have a lot of guys with have great maturity, great understanding, and of course they bought into what we're doing, so they understand that help lead the newcomers into the program. And I feel very confident that we're going to have the type of leadership that we need this season.
All right, that'll do it, Coach. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, everyone.
State, regional, and national sports talk on your schedule. The Sports Ticket Podcast. Subscribe via Apple, Google, and TuneIn Podcasts or sunflowerstateradio.com.